So what we are going to do here today, we are going to actually show the difference between our connectors. So it's kind of overall, right? The plastic, the seals, the terminals, the wire. We've already done the video, kind of showing our wire difference. We've done some other videos where we've done the different crimps on our terminals. But I want to show what you might get from the places, that you find on the internet that aren't us. So from some of the other competitors that definitely sell these, it might be in our price range, or it's the ones that you're going to see for 10, 15 bucks. Believe me, there is a difference. We're going to show that today. So real quick, I'll show you ours. And believe me, I will pull this hard. Maybe I could break the wire, but we'll see. So grab the connector, grab the pin, and see if I can rip it out of the connector. So finally, I actually broke the connector inside. The wire stays attached to the terminal. I will not, of course, sell this connector. This one is damaged on the inside. I may be able to get that to hold again, but I just want to trust it because I just ripped that out. We'll do that demo again. So I'm going to pull that. See, and it doesn't even come out. So sometimes you can break past that point in the connector. What I'm wanting to show here is that our wires won't pull out of the pin where it's crimped. So we'll do the other wire. See what happens here. So we get nothing there. It's normal if it's going to break past, which actually I think there's the piece of plastic right there. Break past that. The plastic in these connectors is, of course, way better. These are actually going to be, what is on the vehicle now as far as the plastic. So this is a high quality plastic, but again, what you're going to see a lot, and what I'm going to show you with the cheaper ones, like these here, will be how easily the wire pulls out. So move ours to the side, and let's start with this one here. This is actually a common VW style and Mopar style for headlamps that you will see. So we'll take this, and I'll just show you real quick. So I'm going to just grab it 2 fingers, kind of show you how easy this is. Or I'm going to lie and have to do more fingers. Alright, well that one might actually hold. There you go. Some of them will pop out real easy, some of them are, let's try it again. Yeah, those they're not great, but they're not as bad as they could be, so you'll see in a second here. So it takes just a little bit of force and they pop out. That one actually was crimped pretty good. So that's kind of the catch, right? You don't know. These are kind of better than some. These 4 red ones actually seem to be holding pretty good. Your other ones, and I'd actually already pulled out before we did this, the other ones. Those were super simple. So for some reason, it's kind of hit or miss. I think the machines that they use whenever they're doing this are kind of all over the place. What I'll show you with these are even easier. So these you can just easily pop out. And you can see it takes nothing, and that's really bad. So let's see if this one's actually crimped a little bit better. Yeah, that one was crimped a little bit better. When you're actually doing the repair, sometimes it'll happen as you're kind of soldering, moving things around. You might put a little tension on it, or after the repair is done, over time, things move, things flex. If it's attached to the suspension, some of that stuff moves, ABS connectors, things like that. So you don't want something that's just gonna pop right out. And this is actually an item that is sold by companies, and they sell this right to a shop. You have to talk about that. So you do have to be real careful. Again, wires pull right out. We make everything in-house. Everything is, of course, quality control checked. We check everything. So if we make a batch, we check them at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Because what will happen over time, the tools that we use. Now this is a tool that we sell. This isn't our actual tool that we use, but just for representation. The actual teeth, the way the jaws are designed, it's metal, right? You're crimping onto a metal terminal. It slowly wears away on the inside there, and you won't really know it. You won't see it unless you do that pull test. And that pull test, which is we clamp the pins into a vise, and we try to pull them, and we see what happens. Typically with that, the wire breaks off of the pin first. It doesn't actually come loose. It snaps the little end of the wire off. But that's where that pull test comes in. You won't ever see it. You have to do that test to know once that die is kind of worn down some. And again, just to kind of show you how easy this is. And again, some of the pins are going to be crimped better, some of them are going to be, just super loose like these are. Here's one that actually is a little bit tighter. And that's what's scary, whereas ours are going to be the same consistency. You're going to either break the connector or you're going to rip the wire apart before you get the wires to come loose from the terminal. When you're done, that's the one that I ripped out of that connector. Of course, the wire is still intact. It actually broke the plastic, the little catch, and the catches are pretty small, but that's where the good plastic comes in, because it's not much to hold on to, but cheaper plastics can break really easy. These connectors, the plastic's so cheap and the crimp is so cheap, it doesn't even matter. I mean, it just goes past it, which actually we can let's see what we can do on these. So with a little bit more force, it doesn't even give it the chance to break the connector, because it just pops the wire out. And again, I'll show you ours. I've already been ripping on this one, right? So let's try it again. So finally, and actually the piece of plastic broke out. So finally, after a few times of pulling on it, we can finally, and trust me, I'm pulling that really hard. So I'm breaking past that point in the connector. If you do that, there's a problem. You'll never get that much force on that connector when you're doing a repair or anything like that, working on the car. If you have to pull the harness out, that is a lot of force to rip that out. These take almost nothing. A small child could break these things. I mean, that was easy. So another thing is that the wire demo we do, as far as doing the burning and stuff with a wire, same principle here. That cheaper wire, and I'll show you ours again real quick with theirs. So the cheaper wire, so it flames up real fast, right? Just like before. Try not to make our room totally smell like smoke here, but same deal, right? So that burns real easy, gets down to the copper. So heat from an engine, not necessarily direct flame, heat from an engine, heat from exhaust, gonna be the same issue. Whereas our wire, I already ripped them all out of our connector, so let me show you. And again, don't forget, ripping out of the connector, but terminal end's still intact. I actually had to break the connector to get these out. So let's do that burn. Our wire, just so you see, all of our wire is the same. So eventually, finally, I'm gonna start to kind of eat into that sheathing, but the insulation there. It's got the secondary layer that basically stays intact once it gets to the first. But it takes a while. So again, so difference between our connectors, cheap connector, wire, a lot higher temp, a lot higher abrasion resistance, better seal, better terminals. The actual work done to it, right? Crimping it, putting it together is a lot better. Plastic of the connector, our connectors are going to be actually most of the time is an OE body, so the plastic is 100%, the fitment is 100%. Ones like these are actually going to be a cheaper plastic, cheaper copy, cheaper wire, cheaper terminals, and then the worst of all, of course, is the work that's done to crimp it. And these mass production ones like this, they're just trying to get a bunch out. Of course, you have to if you're doing it that cheap. So that's where those wires they just fall out basically. So that's basically it, and that kind of shows the huge difference, in my opinion, with our connectors to the cheaper aftermarket ones that you'll see. One of the big things for us, since we are direct with a lot of the major insurance companies, the connector and the repair have to hold up over time, right? So we sell the part to the shop. We know that the part's good. The shop knows the part's good. From there, as long as they do the correct repair, it's going to last, and they shouldn't have any trouble with that area that they had worked on down the road.